Are you using any of the following words or phrases in your resume or LinkedIn profile? Experienced leader, accomplished professional, results-oriented, strategic, innovative, team player, proven track record. I could go on and on. If you are using any of these, you're in good company. A lot of people do. Stick around and I'll share how using these words and phrases in the materials that represent you dilute rather than strengthen your personal narrative, making it less compelling and less unique. And it may actually raise questions in the minds of your readers about your capabilities and your experience. I'm Doug Lester, an executive coach and career strategist to MBAs and ambitious professionals. I've worked one-on-one with well over 1,000 people, helping them craft compelling work-life narratives and advance satisfying, meaningful careers. When it comes to your career and your life, if you don't craft your own narrative, then someone else might do it for you, and you might not like what they come up with. So let's work together on your narrative now. As an executive recruiter and then a coach to well over 1,000 professionals, many of them MBAs in mid and senior level roles, I've seen my fair share of resumes and LinkedIn profiles. And even in the really good ones, I find myself reading the same words and phrases over and over again. It's the list I went through in the introduction that includes experienced leader, accomplished professional, and proven track record. Just repeating them like that essentially proves the first point I'd like to make. You've seen them too in resumes and LinkedIn profiles, probably more times than you can count. When you use phrases like that, the intention, and it's a good one, is to distinguish yourself and convey the extent and depth of your experience. The problem is a classic one, though. When everyone uses phrases like that to describe their experience, and so many people do, those phrases and words, they become meaningless. They end up just being filler words that might sound good and flow well, but they don't provide any useful information to your reader. They're a crutch. So what do you do instead? I would propose that you share what actually makes you experienced or accomplished. If your experience spans 15 years in market-leading B2C healthcare companies, then say that. If you're accomplished because you've launched a well-known product or service in your industry, or maybe you're associated with a few, then say that. It will sound just as good and be a lot more meaningful to your reader. And if you do, it will also prevent a problem you may unintentionally be causing, and that's generating skepticism or doubt in the mind of your reader. I don't know about you, but when I read someone describing themselves as experienced or accomplished, or maybe a strategic or innovative, or any of those other words and phrases I mentioned at the opening, I experience a little doubt. It feels evasive, like a challenge. You're asking your reader to accept your judgment about yourself. And it is a judgment when you describe yourself as any of those things. Think about it this way. I think we all know that when someone says they're not something, then there's a good chance they probably are. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not a difficult person, but, or I'm not cheap, but. And when the opposite is happening and someone is saying something especially positive about themselves, don't you doubt it just a little? Like when you hear someone say, "Oh, I'm very generous," or "I'm a very caring person." Don't get me wrong. Some people say that, and it's true. But when they do say it, doesn't it plant just a little seed of doubt in your mind? Don't you then want some proof? Don't do that to your reader. Don't plant that seed of doubt. Give them the proof that they need right away. Tell them what you've done that's strategic or innovative and relevant. Maybe you've been at the forefront of investing in new technology that ended up transforming an industry. Say that, and then follow it up with the specifics, and there's less room for doubt or skepticism. And then you're not making a judgment about yourself. You're not saying that you're innovative and asking your reader to take it at face value. You're showing that you're innovative. But I know what you're thinking. Can I do both? Can I say that I'm innovative and then give the specifics? Again, I'd encourage you not to plant the seeds of doubt in your readers' minds. And if you do load up your resume or LinkedIn profile with those relatively meaningless words and phrases, you'll just end up making your materials longer, denser, and ultimately harder to read. Your reader will need to, in their minds, do the editing work you probably should have done for them on the page. And they'll have to skip over the filler words and search for the ones that are relevant and based in fact. Based on my experience as an executive recruiter, I can tell you with certainty that the information I shared with clients when I was presenting candidates had to be based in the relevant facts and not the judgments that candidates might have been making about themselves. And those filler words and phrases, like experienced leader or accomplished professional, usually appear at the very beginning of a resume summary or a LinkedIn About section. You could be signaling to your reader without meaning to that the rest of your resume or profile is going to be loaded up with low-value words and phrases, and they may lose interest and never make it to the relevant facts. This is especially true when you consider that the average time people spend reading a resume or a LinkedIn profile can probably be measured in seconds, or maybe it's a minute or two at the most. And if they're reading either of those things on a mobile device's screen, then your filler words and phrases will likely push the important information off the screen entirely. So if you find yourself relying far too much on filler words, maybe now's a good time to check. And you need to think about what's going to be truly meaningful and relevant to your target, or maybe you're not even certain who your target is. Let's think through it together. Consider signing up for a career strategy session with me at careernarratives.com/strategy, and we'll work on identifying your target reader and the information that will be most valuable to them if they're considering you for what may be the next step in your career.